All right, guys, we're going to talk about the movie The Black Hole, 1979, a Disney classic.
Had you seen this before this?
I had not seen this before.
I had not seen it either.
I had it on my list for a while, actually, of something I've been looking for.
I'm very worried that you didn't love this movie.
I won't say that I liked it.
Okay.
I won't say I loved it, though.
All right.
I thought there were parts where things happened that were just super uncharacteristic or slow, but there's something there that this could be really amazing.
I think people that haven't seen this should absolutely watch it. It's Disney. It's 1979. That sounds like it's going to be miserable, but depending on who you are and like what you're into, I think this might be like I would not have appreciated this as a kid.
So you love and know it's Cannibal Video.
I remember seeing Star Wars and thinking this shit's old or whatever as a kid, right?
Okay.
So how old?
That's interesting.
How old? Yeah, I was like, this is some old shit or whatever.
Old things as a kid to me felt like they were real life. I was like, oh, this is some real shit.
Real. I remember being like, this is old. It's like original Star Trek. I'm like, this is old. This is BS or whatever. When I watch this now, I'm like, rear projection, map paintings, like compositional
huge
work,
sets.
the huge sets that you're just throwing away, miniatures, camera lock. Oh my god, I'm like, this is amazing. I appreciated this so much.
There's a lot of cool techniques here for I feel like a script that needed some work.
Sure, definitely.
So the movie itself.
So if you don't want to get spoiled about what this is, go check it out. If that sounds interesting.
I would say it is definitely worth a watch. I think it feels longer than it is.
Yes.
Go into that knowing that.
Yeah.
But the visual stuff you're going to see in this, really interesting. Some cool stuff. Old school effects. Definitely enjoyable.
If you're interested in any of that, like effects stuff or timeline
sci-fi,
stuff,
robots, spaceships.
Because this was better, this felt better to me, and maybe I have to rewatch some other old stuff, but this felt better to me than those things. I think it was that Disney like stamp of quality or something like that, where like something about this felt realer and better than a lot of that stuff. I think the sound might have been better was the whole thing, because old stuff, the sound would always get to me.
Okay. It did not detect any real issues.
Well, like I assume every line is like dubbed here because that's how they used to do stuff, but it still didn't really feel that way. And a lot of the sound effects and like the visual effects felt really well integrated. Not that they were better than Star Wars, but like felt more like they were really happening to me. And again, like I'd have to go back and check, but this came totally, I was like, meh. So like if you're interested as a like film historian's study of this sort of thing, check it out. I don't think spoiling it will even hurt it though, honestly. So
no, and again, it's from 1979. We're not spoiling. We're talking.
Well, I never heard of it, so like.
No, but you had the opportunity to.
I did, and like if you want to do statute of limitations, like we should be allowed to spoil this.
Yeah.
But if you're watching this and you haven't seen that movie and this all sounds interesting, go check it out.
Yeah, so you're going to look for Black Hole in 1979. There are many movies called Black Hole. There's one with Dean Cain. Check it out.
Watch that first, then watch this movie, then go back to the first tab and watch the rest of this review.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video and we eat the competition.
The movie is about a spaceship that is very far off into space, and they come across a other spaceship that they then identify as a missing ship.
A derelict ship in the shadow of a black hole that's somehow not getting pulled in.
It's sitting right on the cusp of a black hole. You're like, how the hell's that happening? Yeah. Interesting. And then shit just goes wild from here.
Well, I wrote down Lost in Space, Star Wars, Star Trek, like Captain Kirk, all that stuff. We happen upon some impossible space situation, right?
This reminded me of like a Doctor Who episode.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like, what happens? We end up on the ship. There's a bearded mad scientist who's, like, speaking, like, Shakespearean stuff or whatever. We've got a crew full of creepy robots, whatever you want to say.
He's a legendary space captain,
yes,
though. They know of him.
Why didn't you follow the orders to return home? The only orders come from God now. I'm on a quest to search in the black hole. And it's fucking, there's a whole thing. It's very much
The ship is very cool.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, they do, like, a sweep of the ship before, like, gravity fucks them up and they eventually get pulled into the ship itself.
Okay.
But when the lights kick on that ship, I was like, this is amazing. Yep. Like, that's a very cool set.
Yes.
Like, it's like, very cool miniature stuff where you're like, this is dope. Lights are actually happening. There's all this glass.
The attention to detail and all that business. And again, like, when you'd watch Star Trek, you could practically see, like, the edges of the box of...
Its 5-year mission, to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations.
the thing and the ship was like sliding across or whatever. This, it felt like it was really there.
Yeah, very dynamic.
It was crazy. And I think the sound design had a lot to do with that, making stuff pop a little more or something. It was really interesting. But the whole introductory sequence, we find out that the chick is an empath, just like on Star Trek.
I know it. I feel it.
We find out
that talks to the robot.
Yeah,
which is like a double. What was the word for that? You're a.
Oh no!
Damn it! There's a specific word for people that can talk to robots.
But there are very few old, bold pilots.
She's tuned in on V.I.N.CENT, all right.
Oh, like a
technopath.
I was just say technomancer or something like that. No, but like the robot, kind of like a weird trash can R2D2 type of robot. He goes outside to fix the ship during like the thing. Exactly like it takes so much from so much in this weird way.
The robot is so goofy, but also so endearing.
Yeah.
Like it's this weird combination where he has
the
these
robot.
big eyes. His head can go like up and down and expose like vital things for no reason and then come back down. Like he has a grappling hook and a laser cutter and guns. I'm like, this guy does everything.
And he's a floating trash can.
V.I.N.CENT, were you programmed to bug me?
No, sir, to educate you.
He's got a British voice.
To quote Cicero, rashness is the characteristic of youth, prudence that of mellowed age, and discretion the better part of valor.
Sometimes you can see these strings, and sometimes you can't.
Keep coming, old-timer.
You don't have to wait for me.
And either way, the way that thing's floating down hallways and doing stuff, the way it's casting shadows,
it's got a very cool
the way it's
approach.
with the actors. Really there, and they talk to it, and it's really there. Like, I sound like a broken record, and like I'm going to continue to do that for the next 10 minutes, because it's like, that's so good, that's so amazing to me. I'm so happy.
What makes it feel better is that it looks so almost, I don't want to say bad, because that will come off a certain way, but it goes almost directly counter to everything else in the movie.
What's up, V.I.N.CENT?
The largest black hole I have ever encountered, Mr. Pizer.
So like all the bad guys robots are like, almost like Battlestar Galactica meets Star Wars.
I wrote Kylo Ren bot for the one that's all in black.
Kinda.
Yeah.
You'd have beat him again if he hadn't bumped you.
But there are all these like everything's real and gritty and dark, and you're like, Disney did this?
Listen to me! Help!
Dark.
Yeah.
Cool. But then there's the one robot where you're like, yeah, Disney did this. Like, like that's like floating Wall-E robot. Like, cool.
My cabin all morning, so let's hover over to the driving range and hit a few virtual balls into space.
I read up a little bit. The eyes were actually like a last-minute thing. They had a plan for like LED or like light eyes that would like change and do different expressions and all that stuff, but they weren't working on set, so they scrapped it on like the first day of shooting.
Gotcha.
And they just glued on dumb eyes or whatever the hell. Yeah.
Interesting.
So imagine the whole rest of the movie with like things happening.
That would have changed my opinion of him a lot.
Sure.
So like it's the eyes that make him dumb.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I know.
They could have been.
I was like, wow.
I wonder how that would have changed it, because like that robot has some, and then there's like that's a line of robots. There's another one that speaks with a country accent.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's awesome.
He meets a broken redneck version of himself who tells him what's really going on this derelict ship. It's amazing.
My name's Bob, Biosanitation Battalion. I couldn't talk freely before, but I have a whole lot to tell you.
This movie's amazing stuff.
But it's also so dumb.
Yes.
That like it's so outlandish.
Yeah.
Like outlandish is where amazing and dumb meet each other. Like that's what that is.
Perfect.
Your friends are in grave danger. Reinhardt only turned the lights on to prevent any damage to the Cygnus. This is a death ship.
And this is that, like, to the T. Because you have this weird thing where I'm like, they're all these robots are like practicing their shooting and competing with each other. I'm like, they're all robots.
He goes to a robot bar.
Try and relax, have some fun. Remember what they say, all work and no play?
where they have a game where they shoot at little orbs or whatever.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Do you understand how much more
There's a
amazing?
robot lounge in the derelict spaceship where they all hang out.
Star, Vincent's my name, sharpshooting's my game. Try me.
Later you find out they're humans with robot masking.
Yeah, well, like they were humans and now he's
it makes it even more it makes it more amazing to me where I'm like, is that even easier? Is it easier to make humans into robots than to just make robots?
To use the human brain to like make the robot?
I don't know.
I know.
It's very fascinating.
Exactly.
But
I think you said
so expansive.
I think you said something great before where it's like old things just feel like real to me or whatever.
Yeah.
Like this felt to me as if like part of my brain was like, well, yeah, that's how things used to be. Like we saw it in Star Wars. There used to be trash can robots that would fly around and like fix things.
The shields are gone.
This just feels like that's how things were then.
Yeah.
It's insane to me.
Time was different.
Yeah, and everyone's wearing capes and weird stuff in space, and that's how it is. I don't know, that's how space was back then.
We stand on the brink of a feat unparalleled in space exploration.
Now space is different. It's like boxier and like, right? Like, it's amazing.
But then there's like dumb things in the movie. Like there's a part where they have a large like atrium where like they grow their food and stuff.
Yeah,
and like
the garden, whatever.
The roof gets like blown off. Like there's so much glass. For a place that gets attacked by asteroids, it seems relatively a lot.
Well,
the idea of,
at least
these,
here, yes.
of these large open panels of easily destructible things.
Yes.
Regardless, though, the roof gets blown off. Space is coming in.
Hang on, Jake.
Yeah.
And there's like, oh, I'm so cold. And like,
there's like dust.
Yeah.
Or like snowy cold dustness
yes,
or something. Yes.
But they're not instantly dead or you
people are getting like sucked away though. It's a weird weird middle ground where
there's a weird where some people are strong
we didn't know how
enough
space
to not
was.
get pulled.
Yeah, like heavy enough?
Like leaves off the like the trees don't move at all, but like people are floating away. And that's just a mistake in making.
It's like that's just charming.
I'm fine with that. There's another exploding thing where space comes in, and like a boulder a la Indiana Jones is coming down the way. And they're just in this room, unaffected at all by the size of the world, just open into space.
I will hear nothing about this. The shot where like the asteroids are like weird see-through effect things.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
A whole storm of them, Captain. The black hole's dragging them in too.
But like one of them's rolling.
They're like lightsaber, except meteor.
Like the ship has this big like promenade with like walkways and causeways.
Yeah.
They have a shootout there earlier and all that stuff, and now they're kind of running
Which
back.
was like very slow but cool.
Well, we can get to that in a minute, but the big asteroid is rolling down the big like promenade. That shot though was so good with them silhouetted and tiny, like running across the bridge as the big boulders like coming down or whatever. I understand, like, well, space wouldn't work that way, but space doesn't work the way it would ever work anyway. So I'm like, that's fine.
It's the lack of oxygen and pressure that like annoys me, because you've displayed that that's how it works over here, but not over here.
We've got to keep moving.
He's frozen.
Well, the asteroid's like plugging up the tunnel or something.
That's not a thing.
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna complain about it on the internet. What do you
I'm
think?
not sure how far away it was. Like how good the shot looked made me not care about the logic behind it. But what I want to get to is that you're absolutely right. What happens in like the third act of this movie? Because like the intro, we're tumbling, the gravity. Oh no! Quick, do this. Quick, do that. R2D2. Wait, what's your name? Go out there. Oh,
Vincent?
I know what his name is.
Is it Vincent?
Yes, it's Vincent. I'm making a joke. You're just shitting on my thing.
I had to make sure I knew his name.
Vincent, vital information necessary centralized. Labor force, the 396th.
So like all that stuff's happening. Then in like the middle, we get some other like robot lounge and some other stuff, right? The third act is devoted to a lot of like action-y set pieces. And that's where the real dating of the movie, I think, comes into play.
Dan, are you all right?
Because they are boring, they are not interesting. Pew, 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 pew. I can't we can't even joke about it enough, right? It's like
it's so slow.
It's so like compared to how things are now, and even compared to how things were then. It's
it
really
looks like
out of date.
You're filming something in bullet time.
The whole time.
It's so slow.
Yeah, like when
the robot like comes up behind you.
When they were pinned in the hallway, I thought of the scene in Star Wars. When they're pinned in the hallway and like Leia shoots and like shoves them down the trash thing or whatever. I've never seen Star Wars, but like I thought of that and how much better that feels compared to how these felt, where they were pinned in the hallway, right?
Way to go, Charlie!
So like that's the weakest part of this whole thing.
Isn't Star Wars like 71 or 72?
77, I think.
77. Okay.
I looked them up because I was like, how long ago was Star Wars? Who's ripping off who here, motherfucker? Who had the first trash can space repair bot?
Thank you, Vincent.
Hard to say. I wonder.
Because
you could be in production for quite some time.
And who knows, like when you write it or storyboard, or maybe it's all based on the same. I don't know.
Disney owns it all now, so it don't matter.
Now they have to sue themselves. It's a weird thing. They've been in court for years, suing themselves. No, we get like Norman Bates wants to stay there during one point, and he gets shredded by the evil robot.
Perhaps I could find it here, if you're in no hurry for us to leave.
Shall we discuss that over dinner?
We get like the old guy who's
and it
like
drills like through the notes that are important.
Yeah. Fuck it. No.
I thought there was gonna be some moment where you'd realize that like like Jesus guy was actually being held there by the spinny hand robot.
Your crack unit outwitted and outfought by some Earth robot and that antique from storage.
They hint at that.
Because it looks like sometimes he gives him like a look like, don't say that, stupid.
One of my greatest achievements.
But you told us the crew had left the ship.
Or like something,
yes.
But it doesn't actually do anything.
I wrote that down in my notes, and like, I'm not saying this movie's the best movie ever and it's perfect, but like, there's something about that there too, when he's like, protect me from Maximilian.
Protect me from Maximilian.
There's a line in there.
Yeah.
After Maximilian kills Norman Bates, who wants to stay there to learn black hole science from Jesus.
You shouldn't have done that. He was a good man.
he like leans in.
He's more like Moses now that
I know. I was gonna say I didn't want to, but he's like, protect me from like wait, don't go, stay. I need you to protect me from that. And she has psychic robot powers. So I was like, oh, like he's like created a monster. He like can't get out of this cycle that he's in. But they totally don't do anything with that at all.
No.
And maybe they do something at the end, which we'll get to at the end.
This movie, to jump to the beginning real quick,
yes.
has the longest beginning sequence that I've ever seen in my life.
So I wrote in my notes, it begins with an overture, like as a joke to like pick an old word. Then I like looked up the like trivia for the movie. That's actually an overture. That's what it's called, like officially. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Oh
but
my God, it's like 3 minutes. I was like, did the movie break?
I expected like a title crawl to come up like Star Wars. You are just staring at a fixed shot of stars while you listen to some classical overture for the first. It's like minutes.
I
it's
think
like 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes.
I think it's like 3.5 minutes.
It's a long ass time.
Because I was like, do I fast forward? Is there a problem?
How will I know?
I thought like maybe my DVD had a problem. Like I was like, is there an issue? I'm like, is this supposed to be part of like the menu sequence and it somehow is just playing forever?
Like and like, is it looping? Is it forever?
It's so long on a static shot that just has music. But like the music kept going, so I was like, well, it's not the same note over and over again. I'm like, I'm not frozen. What's happening?
Yeah, you were like, oh, it's like my brain is destroyed.
Perfectly with the ending of the movie, where I'm like, this is as ridiculous as that beginning. They go to hell.
They go to so like in the beginning, one of the guys says, black holes. I hate them. Every time I see one, I'm expecting to see like and they said something about like the devil or whatever.
Every time I see one of those things, I expect to spot some guy in red with horns and a pitchfork.
It's a monster, all right.
You know, standing by it or something like that. These are the destroyers of the galaxy or some weird thing like that. And then when they go into the black hole, so Reinhardt, Professor Reinhardt,
is somehow not dead.
And he merges with Maximilian. Yeah. He's inside the little thing, like now his eyes are in there. He's looking around and all that stuff. And then it pans over, and there's fire and rocks and all the other robots, I guess, right?
Yes.
Did I make that part up?
Oh, yeah.
And they're in hell and all that stuff. Then it zooms to like a weird hallway, like crystal hallway, with some other angel figure who also looked like, Reinhardt, flying through it. And then our people get out of it. Them in like the cockpit with like weird stop motion frames of them like spinning around or whatever. I loved all this goofy shit. I was like, this is amazing.
It made me question so much, including their ability to survive here. I'm like, so they are as far as humans have ever gotten, presumably from Earth. And they are now in a probe. They're not in their spaceship.
Okay, at the end.
Yeah, at the end.
Okay, so you don't have a problem with in the middle of the black hole?
That's weird, but I don't know how that works. It could be hell.
That's what I'm saying.
No, my problem was I'm like, you were in a probe. A probe that may have, like, it wasn't originally your intent to take. It might have no fuel.
I'm not sure about its life support or anything else like that. Yeah.
I assume it has no food. It was an unmanned probe a minute ago.
And they cut on that to be like, they got away. But like, you don't know what's happening.
I think they're in for a slow and painful
Vincent's
death.
Like, Twinkies, here you go. Here's a whole.
I'm sure he's got a couple, but I don't
stole
know
a bunch
if he has enough.
I stole a bunch of food. Yeah, he doesn't talk like that.
No.
I stole a bunch of food.
I was a little sad when the Western robot died.
We're the best.
Yes.
I was like, oh no, I liked him. All right, sacrifice yourself. He's like, spit out your microchip. Like, live on. Yeah. Do something. And he didn't.
I'll put you in a better robot.
But part of me goes with you. You'll never be obsolete. Carry on the tradition.
Yeah. No, okay, Reinhardt's dying, presumably he's pinned down, everything's falling apart.
I assumed he was 100% dead.
Exactly, and now I don't know, but yes.
Maybe you live on in hell.
Maybe that was him dying, imagining whatever, and he was the whole
you become
metaphor,
what you've created.
Metaphors or something. But he's pinned there, and I think he says something like, "Help me," and Maximilian's just like, "Bye," and like the door's closed, and he's gone.
Maximilian! Help me!
And then he shows up, and he's terrifying, the way he's hovering, and I was not able to see his strings, I think, most of the time. Mm-hmm. So that was just a weird hovering hovering robot with his weird, cutlery going on or whatever.
Now, Maximilian, calm down. Don't pick on small people.
So Vincent, saves the day. The blasters are useless. He's red, so he can't be killed by a blaster. I don't know what's going on. But Vincent pins him to help him, and they do this weird robot cardboard fight. And then it turns out he has a little attachment. He drills into him and kills him. That's amazing.
Vincent's got everything.
I thought Vincent was going to pin him so that they could get away, and then they'd all die. Yeah. But no, he ends up on the ship at the end for the black hole sequence.
No, I was excited for that. I was like, all right, Vincent could be in the sequel. I'm like, is there any Vincent merch? I'm like, I could go for a Vincent toy.
A Vincent piggy bank would make my day.
Something, right?
Holy crap.
Gotta look into that. I don't think this movie was popular enough to get anything like that.
I am shocked that I never heard about this movie, because I've seen several minutes of lots of old movies that they're like, well, you thought that was cool. They just got lucky. This is the real shit. And it's been like, this sucks so bad. This is the worst thing ever, right?
Yeah.
This, I feel like, was weirdly good for its time and
just
what it is.
Just a little long. And I don't remember how long it actually was, but it felt like hours, like 2.5 hours.
It's got a certain aesthetic, and that third act is kind of brutal in that regard, where you're like...
It does not end strong. But it ends with you're like, what the fuck?
Well,
they're in hell?
Yeah, it ends in this crazy way, but leading
up to
when you think
of it as a Disney movie on top of that, where you're like, this is really weird. I guess Song of the South set up the pace.
They said something about this was the first or one of the whatever PG movies for Disney. They couldn't get the G rating, but they were press on or whatever. But I didn't read up a full documentary on it or something like that. But yeah, the tone is weirdly dark. A dude gets like eviscerated. He gets gutted. It's not shown.
It's almost weird for a PG. Nowadays wouldn't have been a PG.
They didn't have R then, so this would be a whole thing. But this is
or PG-13 presumably.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, they didn't have PG-13. They had something above PG. Yeah. But this was in the PG. This is back when Temple of Doom or whatever was PG, the famous ones. But man, I'm so happy that we watched this. I'm so happy that we found this.
So I've been looking for this one. I have a list of movies that I'm always on the hunt for, and this one's not orderable from our distributor. And I've been looking for it at flea markets and stuff.
Okay, so you snatched it up.
And I found it at a flea market on one of those goddamn tables where they price the DVDs individually. I hate that shit so much. Everything should be $1 at flea market. It should be the law. And so I go there and I see it.
Just pull up with a wheelbarrow and dump stuff in.
I see it for $5, and I was like, could you do $2? And she's like, it's $5. And I'm like, you've got it.
You made the right decision, because this is amazing.
I've wanted to see this for a long time.
I want to learn more about it. I'm so shocked by this existing. This is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Maximilian!
I'm very happy about.
Yeah, this box is not the best box. There's a better box available. The VHS had a better box too.
This should come out on Blu-ray. They should remaster this the way they remastered the Batman animated series, where they take out the strings and shit. They should go hard on this movie. This is amazing to me.
I wonder if it would ever get a treatment such as that.
Never in a million years.
Especially with how Disney releases things. No. Go the vault has to go for 400 years.
The vault.
Impossible. The word impossible, Mr. Booth, is only found in the dictionary of fools.
The idea that it came out on DVD, you should be impressed enough.
Yeah, when is this public domain? It's this is amazing.
When is this public domain?
Yeah,
quite some time.
Any day now, I'm sure. No, with the original rules, it would be coming up, but now it's going to be so much longer or whatever.
Disney's then use that inside something else, so it got covered again. Fuck you.
We didn't talk about like the twist, which is we talked about it, but yeah, like all these robots who are just people are trying to be people, and you're like fine or whatever. Yeah, I thought Maximilian was going to end up being the empath lady's father, and that was going to be the whole like twist. And
I never thought that, but that's interesting. So, oh, that actually would be pretty. I like that. I don't hate that at all.
They say that like maybe they got rid of like the robot that that they used his body for in that weird robot funeral scene.
The officer the men trusted most was Frank McCrae,
Kate's father.
They turned to him when Dr. Reinhardt ignored the orders to return home.
Which has a beautiful map painting behind it, or whatever, right? When they fire into the black hole and all that stuff. But I was hoping Maximilian would have been, and they take off that helmet when he's lying there broken after he does the thing, and it's like Darth Vader, but it's like Father.
Or he comes to their rescue in some way, or something.
His programming starts to break through or something.
Or no, it would be that she tries to talk to it, and that sparks it out of its thing. That's what should have happened.
So he's like, "Stay, protect me from Maximilian," and she's like, "What can I do?" And he's like, "Well, use your things that I just found out about. Get into his mind. Distract him so I can so I can deactivate him." And she goes in there and like mind freaks her because it's her father. Oh no!
And it would be another spiral scene, like
yeah. No, that's wonderful.
No, that'd be pretty good.
But like the lighting, the like effects, the sound, everything.
All that stuff about old stuff.
Amazing.
I really love. Yeah. I love sets.
Damn.
I like props.
Yeah.
I like things, and like old stuff just has a lot of that outlandish quality. And I was very impressed with a lot of the visuals. It was just the execution on some of these things where I'm like, you would have changed this and that, little subtext here. This part, you could have just cut that part out, make that faster. I think there's a lot of legs there.
The weird, like the machine that turns you into a robot that... is somehow like a thing.
Yeah.
That though, like the little like sparkly lightning bits that came out, something about the way that felt was so like fluid to me. Like that feels better than half the CG that I see.
I hate
CG. Was like, damn.
I love like old effects. Like I love watching like Ghostbusters, like the cool shit in Ghostbusters. God. I'm like, this shit's terrifying and awesome. Why don't people do this shit? Oh, does it cost more? Fuck you.
Well, good CG we don't complain about because it's good.
Well, and you don't even notice really good CG, yeah.
And the way the bad CG looks, like like the point is going back this far, laser fire should be like a joke. But like I was feeling like laser fire was happening in this movie.
I think that's the thing is that good CG, I can't even tell a CG, yes. Yeah. But I like effects. I like seeing them, and old effects, much like Ghostbusters or Star Wars or stuff like that. I'm like, that's cool. Like, what is that?
Yes.
Like, more of that, please.
I remember Warlock when he's like throwing the magic around and felt like had substance and all that
exactly.
stuff.
Marvel.
Damn, son.
80s had a lot of cool shit.
We're so old. It's awful.
Old is piss.
Being old is awful. That's all my bullets, I think. I mentioned the things, appreciating all the stuff. Real quick, the captain was a good, like, snap to it dude.
Call him off, Reinhardt. I said call him off!
Like, I love the whole crew. You had every stereotype. You had a young whippersnapper and his, like, mentor, the captain.
What is it, Ernest Borgnine is the older guy?
Are you programmed to speak?
Oh, I started saying it before. He like fakes a leg injury and pieces out.
I didn't trust him at all.
Yeah.
When the way he fell and he's like my leg's broken. I was like, your leg's not broken.
Your leg's not broken, bitch. Get up.
Shit.
Damn.
You hit?
My leg.
How bad?
Oh, I think it's broken.
Can you make it back to the ship?
Yeah.
And that's that like that good bad actor or liar and like type of thing. And I was like, well, he's lying. And then like he got up almost immediately after it. I'm like, lying bitch. And then I'm like, oh, you lying yellow bitch.
Yeah.
And you already knew he was going to die because they had said in the scene right before this, like, prime the guns, shoot them down.
Give them distance, then blow them out of the sky.
I'm like, all right, you're saving their lives.
Guts and locked him up.
You may have done us a favor, Charlie. At least we're alive.
And where there's life...
I'm sure that's not what he had in mind. He was trying to save his own skin.
I love it, though.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Because we had one dude's betraying them by, like, not wanting to, like, leave with them.
Yeah.
And the other guy betrays them literally. Like, they're real people in this crazy,
yeah.
you
well,
know,
and
like
third guy betrays them by betraying their orders and saving them.
There you go.
A lot of betrayal in this movie.
A
Disney.
lot of
full of betrayal.
A lot of not following orders. No,
Yeah.
it's like, it doesn't go the way that it's supposed to go. It's like messy. They barely get out, right? It feels
and
good.
I don't, in my opinion, they don't get out. I think they're dead.
Sure. Well, they physically make it.
They
but
physically
don't,
get out,
yes.
but I think they got out to have a long death in a raft type of thing. Decent movie, guys.
A happy ending.
Yeah,
for our people.
Overall, it was definitely a fun watch. It might not be a great film, but it's a good movie.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
This is like a 10 out of 10. I'm so happy I watched this.
Oh, super not a 10 out of 10.
My God.
This is like
so happy.
6 out of 10.
I'm so happy
it's worth watching.
I'm so happy this exists. I was like delighted by this movie. I appreciate it more than I like enjoyed it, but at a certain point, like, there's only so many movies.
Well, the problem is there are movies that have all the quality and charm that you like about this that are also good movies.
I don't know.
Willow.
That's a whole different movie, yeah.
Yeah, but that's a 10.
They're not competing.
All movies are competing.
Yeah.
When you start to put numbers on things, everything is competing for who has the highest number.
I don't know what I would actually rate it out of 10. I'm just saying, like, this was a delightful experience.
I think a 6.5 is a fair rating for this movie, judging all of its pros and cons. Yeah. All right. Enough of this rating talk, guys. Let us know about what you thought about it in the comments below. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Cannibal Video has everything you need. A wide array of VHS and DVDs. We ate the competition, now it's only us. Our expert staff opinion